Hello, I'm Callum Dilietto, and this is the Flock Together podcast in partnership with Destination St John's. And we're here today at the Shangri-La, the Shard, London. I'm joined by Megan.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
You're one of my oldest friends in the industry.
I know, someone asked me last night and I said, I think it's 9 years.
Yeah, we met in LA.
Yeah. What a place to meet.
Yeah, and it was just as La La Land had come out, and we were like
Yes.
very excited about.
We were dancing around.
We were
foyers.
dancing around to the music.
Yeah.
Most of the other group were like, "What are these two doing?" But we were on the same page.
Yeah, we were.
That's still one of my favourite films of all time.
Yeah, it's a strong one.
This podcast is all about exploring your memories and your experiences.
Yeah.
So the first question is remember, and beyond LA, what was your first ever work trip?
So I was thinking about this because my first work trip for Top Banana, who I work for now, was Singapore. But my actual first ever work event was London Fashion Week when I worked for L'Oreal. We used to provide the backstage hair team for it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which was really cool because I got to go and sit and watch all the shows as well. So, yeah, Singapore or London Fashion Week, both pretty
London Fashion
epic.
Week is a great entry into the industry.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Chaotic, but yes. Well, it would set the way of how events is really, full
Yeah.
on and fast paced.
And what was your last work trip?
Melbourne,
Nice.
yes. So we had a big leadership event in Melbourne, which was amazing really. We did a 42-hour site visit. So we spent more time in the air than we did on the ground for our site visit.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
tough.
To be honest, the jet lag it was too fast. It didn't hit you really. It did when you were there. I mean, I felt all kinds of drunk, although I wasn't. But coming back, it was absolutely fine.
Well, I was reading something about travel lag. So
Okay.
where it's not about the time zone hopping, it's just about the act of just getting on and off planes and doing all of this stuff.
Well,
So
they say with LA, you should stay. I think when you leave, you should stay awake. Don't sleep on that. Even though it's a night flight, don't sleep on it. Stay up, and that cracks it. But I don't know. I've never.
I'm usually very good. I messed it up recently where I landed. I was on the east coast of America, so it wasn't even that bad. It was like
Yeah.
a 6-hour time difference, but I got off the plane and I fell asleep about like 7:30 in the evening, 8 o'clock, and that was it. I was messed up
Gotta
for the rest of the
push
week. Yeah.
Do you get onto the time zone of the location the minute you get on the plane though? Because they say that's the trick.
Usually.
But it's hard, isn't it? If you're getting on at Australia, you're getting on at 6 a.m. and it's 6 p.m. So you need to go to sleep in a few hours.
I'm just always tired. I think the answer is I'm always tired,
That's
so I
right.
can just always sleep at any point.
Yeah.
The next section of the podcast is revisit.
Yeah.
So if you could go back in time and relive a destination experience, what would that experience be?
Zambia and Botswana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did an incentive to Zambia and Botswana and it was just amazing. I was actually reliving it earlier, thinking about seeing elephants became like seeing cars. We did so many different experiences and there was just always elephants there. It's like you took it for granted by the end of the week. But yeah, and we went to the Elephant Cafe, so that's where they take elephants from the wild who have been injured and they rehabilitate them to get them back into the wild. But you have elephant interaction, so everybody was sat having lunch and then we had 3 elephants just walk through the middle of lunch and everybody could go and feed them. It was amazing.
That is incredible. To get to the point where you're just so accustomed to an elephant.
I know.
That it's just like pigeons in London.
Yeah, that. But they're just amazing. And I just think Africa is just one of the best places to visit.
It really
It's
is.
incredible.
And if you could make any hotel a home, which would it be?
This is a really hard one. So I love the Rosewood in London for being in London, but I love time in the Cotswolds as well. I don't know if you've ever been.
Oh no, so I thought you meant you just love spending time in the Cotswolds.
No,
Oh,
time,
okay, the
as
hotel
in
is...
THYME.
Okay, no, I've never been.
Oh, it's just so beautiful. And I don't know if you have this, but if I go on holiday to the coast, I want my house to be like distressed wood, like driftwood. When I go to the Cotswolds, I want everything to be wooden and beachy, and that's what time's like. It's just really calm. I just feel peaceful there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It depends where I want to be. I can't commit to one, but both equally beautiful properties.
You could have 2 homes. You know, you just.
Yeah, I'm rich.
Yeah.
My holiday home.
I think what makes Canada different from other incentive destinations is simply how vast and diverse Canada is. I love the accessibility, cultural diversity, and the ability to create a truly authentic experience. If people want a city vibe, Canada can provide that. If you have adventurers, there is absolutely something here.
My most memorable moment was definitely the kayaking experience. The elements and the conditions were something that I have never experienced anywhere in the world. It was magnificent.
We had this amazing immersive cultural experience. We were looking for mushrooms and for herbs and talking about sustainability. We were listening to music, hearing stories of fishing. It was undescribable how awesome that was.
The next section of the podcast is reimagine. So you've done numerous incentives for your clients, but I want you to plan an incentive for yourself. Where would you go? What would you do? And which celebrity guest would you have with you?
So again, I'm going back. I want to go to the Serengeti. I've not been. I know you have. Would love to go there. So in Zambia and Botswana, we didn't see big cats, and I would love to see.
Saw
that.
Loads and loads of elephants.
Loads
but
of
didn't see any
elephants,
big
no
cats.
cats. And it's just the scale of the Serengeti as well. It's vast, isn't it? And I'm taking David Attenborough with me.
Of course.
Who else? He could narrate my whole trip. That's all I need.
One of the best things when I was there, like I really love cheetahs.
Yeah.
Like we saw a leopard. I mean, a leopard literally crossed our path and looked up from the wheel arch into my eyes.
Like
and
a
I was
pigeon.
like, that's very close.
Yeah.
But there was a point, like these game drivers are so intuitive or psychic, or maybe this is just where people hang out all the time, or where all the cheetahs hang out.
Yeah.
But I remember there was a tree that was, you could barely see the tree in the distance, and you went, it looks like there's 2 cheetahs under that tree. And I'm looking and I'm like, is he, what is he talking about? We drive up to this tree and lo and behold, there was these 2 cheetahs that were like lying on each other, like they were brothers or something, and they were just like chilling under this tree in the shade. The grass was pretty much over them. So I was like, how on earth have you spotted them? But those game drivers have like the eyes of a hawk.
Yeah, amazing. But yes, I would love to go. And it just looks beautiful. And David Attenborough, I love him so much.
Having a live commentary, like not a recorded one that we see on Animal Planet, but just having him being like, and there you can see the 2 brother cheetahs under the tree. Like,
amazing. And also just imagine the stories he's got. That man has been to so many places. If Father Christmas was real, he would be David Attenborough. And I realised his brother did play David Attenborough. He didn't play David Attenborough, he played Father Christmas
in Miracle on 34th Street.
Great Santa, but David Attenborough would be better.
The penultimate section of the podcast is reform.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity for you to write a letter to the industry.
Yeah.
What would your letter be?
Right, I wrote a letter because fail to prepare to fail. So here we go. So, dear events industry, you have been my consistent over the last 15 years, and I want to start by saying what a unique and wonderful, fulfilling thing you are, inclusive. You give a space where anyone who wants to put the work in can thrive. You were built on reading books. You aren't built on reading books. You were built on learning through doing by crafting experiences. You, from the outside, look so glamorous, taking those in your charge all over the world. But in truth, you are raw graft. Late nights, long days, so many steps, so many hours of discussing, crafting, antagonising, making changes. That said, the adrenaline of show day is a feeling you cannot share, unless you are amongst it. Going to bed knowing you've made a lasting memory for someone is magic. I've been lucky to work in some amazingly creative teams, making moments that genuinely move. But I've also witnessed burnout, breakdowns, long hours worn like badges of honour, and worse still, I've heard it being met with, well, that's just events. Events are only what they are because of the people, and we must not forget that. The world changed, society changed, and during that time we lost a lot of talent. It is so important we keep a people-first approach if we want this industry to not only survive but thrive. We need to design better systems proactively, better boundaries, respect ourselves more. This isn't the job of one agency. This is something we must do collectively. Create a better tomorrow for our rising talent. The passion is wonderful, but it loses its marvel when it's met at one's own expense. Events matter. They connect people, they mark milestones, they create meaning. But the people who create them matter too, arguably more. Let's look after ourselves, and while we're at it, look left and right and look after those beside us.
I love that. That was really well written as well, by the way. Yeah, I mean, burnout is rife, and I do think that, it's just the industry, it's just events, and it's really difficult because there is a nature of hard work and long hours to it, but definitely more can be done to protect the people.
100%. I think there's systems and processes you can put in place so people don't burn out. Yes, there's long hours, there's hard work, but how are we recouping our people after that, a big time on site, a massive event? And obviously people do events because they're passionate, and that is amazing. But as I said, if that's at your own expense, then that becomes an issue, and we will lose people because enough becomes enough.
And I think there needs to be like a consistency industry-wide, because really it's about upping the resource at an event, right? And if you're under-resourced, that's where it stretches people. But that's where budgets and money and cost pressures come in, right? So the more people, the more costly it is for the client. And I think if every agency pushes back on every client and says, no, we have to have X number of people for X number of hours, then it can make an industry shift. But if only one agency does it, they'll say, okay, well, we're going to go to this other agency because they're cheaper and they can do it.
Yeah, it's like in America, right? There's working hours. It's a law. Their crew cannot work over those 10 hours. Well, I think it might even be 8 now. And it's like we have to have an hour break. I mean, that would be wild doing that here. But we have to adhere to it when we're there. So why can't we mandate something to look after people?
So the final part of the podcast is a quick fire round of questions.
Okay.
Super easy.
Okay.
Just answer what comes to mind.
Okay.
Packing, last minute or week before?
Oh, week before.
I'm not surprised by that at all. Carry on or check in?
Check in. I don't travel light.
Airport lounge or shopping?
Shopping.
I'm getting a real sense of consistency here. You're like, I don't travel light, and then I buy even more stuff.
Yeah.
Aisle or window?
Oh, window, but I'm going to feel anxious that I need a wee if I'm on my own.
Fair. I recently learned that if you just lift up the window blind while someone's sleeping next to you, it just wakes them up. You're like, oops.
Sorry.
You're awake.
Can I get out, please?
As soon as you've stirred, do you mind if I... City or nature?
City.
I'm surprised considering how Serengeti focused.
Yeah, no, I do. I just thought about shopping. My head's there. But I do, I mean, I love both.
But you prefer the shopping?
This is why I love Sydney. Sorry, this is going off topic. Because you've got city and you've got beach. Amazing.
Lay-in or early start?
Well, I have kids, so I'd like to say lay-in, but it never happens. I wake up at 6 every day, so early start probably.
Poolside or seaside?
Sorry, I'm not being direct with these answers. I love the beach, but if I'm like sunbathing, I want to be by the pool because I don't want to get sandy.
Fair. Planned or spontaneous?
Planned.
Breakfast, hot or cold?
Breakfast is always hot.
Hot. That's the Midlands in you.
Yeah.
And hotel, room service or restaurant?
A restaurant. Yeah, you got to get amongst it and see what's going on. It's sad. I think it's a sad little life when you have room service.
Yeah, there is something odd about it. Like, I travel alone quite a lot, and room service it feels too depressing to me.
How do you feel about sitting in a restaurant on your own, though?
I used to hate it, but I'm slowly coming round to it.
Are you just glued to your phone, though?
No, I like to look around and people watch, but I think in a hotel restaurant, it's okay, but I don't often venture out in the city to a restaurant by myself, because then I do feel weird.
See, I make a conscious effort to put my phone away if I'm on my own, and I just watch. With
a book or anything, or you literally just out?
Just watch. No.
Do you get people approaching you? I imagine, surely.
No.
if you're sitting alone, looking around, it's like, hello. Then I feel like
I don't say hello to people.
Oh,
I just observe. I just think it's amazing. It's amazing how many people are sat with their phones in their hands.
Yeah.
At a table full of people. It's quite scary.
Especially when you're on the tube. If you look around, sometimes I'll put my phone away and look around, and everyone, it's like Wall-E, where all the humans are just like focused into their screens. Yeah.
Robots. Weird.
Well, thank you so much for being part of the Flock Together podcast, and it is
having
great
me.
to finally get you on here.
Thank you so much for having me.